The following is a presentation of The Crystal Show, a Springer Podcast Network production. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Crystal Show, episode 3. And you know what that means. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my last episode. I do have a special guest, as you guys can see. I have my husband, Cody Springer.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, I want to ask, Cody, how did you start the Springer Podcast Network?
All right. I think it's important for me to come on here and talk about that for a little bit, because all 4 podcasts on the network, which, is this show, The Crystal Show, The Cody Springer Show, Creepy AF, and Pro Wrestling Focus, are all under the Springer Podcast Network. And basically, what made me come up with the idea is, I thought to myself, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if you had like an entire network of like shows, because if you think about it and you look and everything, you have like Sirius XM radio, they have channels and networks and stuff like that. And then if you go on the sports channels and everything, they have certain shows on those channels. So I thought it'd be kind of cool if we had an entire network of podcasts, and there's something a little bit for everybody, in my show, I talk about like life stuff, like stuff that people actually deal with on a normal daily basis. With you, you've been talking about mental health and stress and stuff like that. Pro Wrestling Focus, talk about wrestling, and then Creepy AF is just fictional, scary stories that are grounded in reality that could actually happen to somebody. And, I felt like our network offers a little bit of everything. And, I'm hoping that in the future that we can get other podcasts and other shows to be a part of our network. So that way we're offering more to the listener, because everybody listens to podcasts. Podcasting has grown so much from when it kind of got started back in, I would say, about 2008 to 2009 and 10. And that's how long I've been doing this, is since 2010, because people may or may not know, but I was a part of a group of people called the 7X group, and we did the 7X wrestling show, did that for several years, and then the group disbanded. And then I was kind of floating out there for a little bit. And then in 2018 is when I did the Cody Springer Show, started that up and everything. And then, as people know, I had that going for 4 years in a row. Went from 2018 to 2022. And then that's when I went on my 4-year hiatus. And the reason for that was because there was a lot going on in both of our lives, because, we had our son being born, and, we moved, and there was just a lot going on. So unfortunately, the Cody Springer Show had to go on the back burner. But even though it was on the back burner, I was still thinking about creating, because that's who I am at my core, is a creator. We're both very creative people, just in different ways. Like with you, you like doing crafts and arts. With me, I like doing podcasts and video creation and all that. That's how we create. And I don't want people to take that the wrong way. Like, well, if Crystal, no, she likes to podcast as well. That's why she does a show for you guys every single week. But with me, this is all natural. I've done this for so long. It's like secondhand to me. But Crystal, like, her secondhand thing is like being crafty and scrapbooking and stuff like that.
It really is. Right now, like, my doing this podcast is kind of out of my comfort zone. So that's why, like, I kind of pause a little bit, and that's why I kind of notice that I'm not really good at it, because this is out of my comfort zone.
Right. Yeah. With her, she's just kind of getting used to how everything works, and me being the primary driving force behind the network. Because I edit the shows, I edit them, I put them up there, upload them on everywhere, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, basically everywhere, because that was another thing too that I was thinking about, because normally I would just edit a show, put it on Spotify, and then I would go out to all the other podcast networks and then be done with it. But I'm like, well, if we really want to get ourselves out there more, then we're going to have to start, posting to all these different places. So, that's why we've been posting the shows to YouTube and Facebook, and, we're actually doing numbers on Facebook, and it's been amazing. We've been getting, thousands of views, just with our full episodes and with the podcast clips. Like, the response has been really good, and I think people are really digging what we're doing. And, like I said, we're appealing to multiple groups of people, not just one specific group of people. We're appealing to, people who want to hear stuff about mental health and, how to deal with life stress and everything. And then people who want to hear about my commentaries about, like, workplace stuff and life stuff and boundaries. That was my most recent episode, was respecting boundaries.
You gotta respect the boundaries.
Right. And Crystal can really attest to this. Because several years ago, when we lived in Van Wert, we had a serious problem with people showing up unannounced.
Oh my God. You remember when you got a welfare check on you?
Oh yeah.
In the middle of us doing it. We're just like having fun, and next thing we know, the cops show up, and it was a wellness check done by his mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Mom, if you happen to be listening to this, yeah, that kind of happened. Yeah. Love you though, but yeah,
brown, but
yeah, yeah, that was just not a good time. But yeah, like, just, yeah, that's my most recent podcast was, talking about stuff like that, respecting boundaries, people coming over unannounced, people spoiling things for me. Yeah, do not spoil anything for me, whether it's movies, TV shows, video games.
Was that because of last weekend also?
What do you mean?
When my brother tried to spoil us for something?
Yeah. I mean, well, like I said in the podcast, it was not intended to bash anybody or attack any one person. It was just a general discussion about respecting boundaries that I have. And, and while we're talking about this, I want to get your perspective, because I'm a millennial. Crystal is technically a Gen Z, even though she's a millennial at heart.
I was born 1997, so I was born the start of Gen Z, guys, but I'm technically more act like a millennial.
Right, yeah, like I was born in 1991, so I am a pure millennial. Crystal unfortunately was born at the end of that whole generation gap and everything, so technically she's Gen Z.
1996, I think, ends that, and 1997 starts the Gen Z. So the start of Gen Z, but I really believe it's not until, like, I want to say 2001 kids more act like Gen Zs. And I'm sorry if I want to say, I'm just saying how I feel, because there are people close to my age that are born like in the 2000s or 2001, and the way they act, I'm like, you definitely are fucking Gen Z.
Right. But I mean, the reason why I bring this up is because there's this kind of entitlement out there that if you're friends with somebody, then you have this entitlement that you have access to their significant other. What is, yeah, it's a real thing. Yes. Yeah, I discussed this on my podcast, and I've flat out said it.
Boundaries? I do apologize because I have not listened to the boundaries yet. But what?
Yes. And by the way, I don't want anyone to say like, oh, Crystal hasn't listened to her husband's podcast yet. Like, look, she works full time. She don't have time to listen to every single show that I do.
Time, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm pulling anywhere. Sometimes I pull anywhere to 50 to 60 hours. Okay, come at me now.
Right. So
I work at my job. I work factory, and I'm working a shitload of overtime.
So yeah, I don't take offense if she doesn't listen to every show that I put out, because she works a lot, but she listens when she can. But basically, yeah, I brought that up on my show that some people think just because they're friends with somebody, they have access to their girlfriend or significant other. And I said, absolutely not, when it comes to me. I mean, like I said before on my show, if you're friends with somebody and they allow you to smash their girlfriend and whatnot, then that's between y'all,
Because that couple has an open relationship. So if you're friends with somebody, but you and your significant other has an open relationship, does not mean you get to automatically get to smash your friend's significant other. No. Now, if they have an open relationship and you have an open relationship, that's a whole different area. But again, that's where boundaries come in, because if we were friends with somebody where they thought because they were friends with Cody and he had the right to, he's going to get his teeth knocked down his throat. I will fight back. Like, he comes and tries to touch me, I will fucking bust him upside his head. And I play violent. I'll get violent. I'm not kidding. Try to come and touch me like that, motherfucker. You're going to have to explain to the cops. Like, and then to my husband, oh, I try to grope your wife, my guy. Sorry. That's why my eyes, like, came out from me with a bottle. Fuck yeah, I did. This is only meant for him.
Yeah, pure and simple. Like, I made it clear in my show, just because you're friends with me, that doesn't mean you get to fuck my wife, kiss my wife, or do anything kind of sexual with you.
Yeah, listen me, I'm headbutting you. That's what comes next. I'm telling you now. Dude just comes up and kisses me. I'm fucking headbutting them. I'm not fucking playing. You're gonna have a busted lip or a broken nose. My God, that is fucking boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
My perspective is a no. Oops. My perspective is no.
Right, yes.
That's how I feel about it. I mean, I'm not going to come after people. Like, we're not trying to come after people. Like, when we were talking about Gen Z, I'm not trying to come after you guys. I'm just saying, like, I was the start of it, but I was just raised. My dad was born in 77, so he was raised through the 80s and the 90s. I had parents raised through 80s and 90s. So I'm telling you now, I just was born with thicker skin. That's all I have to say about that. That's why I'm different. But if you have an open marriage or an open relationship, that is your business. I have nothing to. I'm not gonna say anything about it, but that doesn't. I'm gonna say this. This still does not give you the right to go out there and try to hit on somebody who does not want that.
Right, and we're completely accepting of
Everything.
People who have open relationships and who are polyamorous or whatever the case may be. You do you. We don't judge. Because that's another thing too about the network. We're accepting of anybody, regardless of their race, sexuality, what their relationship status is. We don't judge. We don't necessarily care. I mean, it's your business. It's your life. We're not going to judge you because of that, because everyone's circumstances are different. I mean, everyone has a choice in life. Everyone has choices. Everybody has, things that they like and stuff that they prefer.
All right.
And we don't judge, it is what it is, so what you might be into may not be what we're into, but we're not going to come on here and say, oh, you're wrong for thinking that or liking that. No, we're not going to do that. But yeah, so yeah, it was my idea to launch this network, and so far we're about 2 months in, and I think, we've made some strides in the 2 months that we've been doing it. Because we've had over like 15,000 views up to this point total, and 14,000 of those views in the last 28 days alone. And the Facebook page has been growing. Trying to get the YouTube out there more. So if you guys are also on YouTube, we would appreciate the subscriptions for sure. But yeah, I mean, we're doing what we can, and we're just looking to provide quality podcasts for you guys. And I hope everyone's enjoying the content. So if there's anything you would like to see more of, see less of,
or want us to talk about,
yes, subjects that you want us to cover, we will not talk about politics or religion. Those are two hot button subjects that we will not touch ever. I've never, gone to that, particular realm.
Or sexuality.
Well, yeah, we're not going to discuss like sex life or anything like that. I mean, I've discussed like people's sexuality before, but it was like when they came out to the world, which I've totally been in support of anybody who's came out and everything, because I know it's a big deal and it's tough for people. But yeah, I mean, we're accepting of everybody. But yes, I mean, the network, I think it's, done well so far. But, I'm here on the Crystal Show, and sometimes, when you're a podcaster, it can bring about stress, believe it or not. Because, you want the shows to be quality, you want the shows to be good, you want the shows to be great and everything. And, there can be times where, you deal with stress, as a podcaster. And then especially if you work with people, and, in the past, I've dealt with people that have caused me stress. And that's why I felt like, if I was going to do this network, it was going to be best if I was just my own boss, my own person to answer to, instead of answering to a group of people, because I've had this issue in the past where you work with other people and everything, and sometimes personalities clash, visions clash, and it's not always the best creative environment to work with. And so I felt like, if I was going to do this, then I was going to be at the forefront of it all, and, Crystal, she has her show here. But here's the thing, like Crystal is my wife, and I told her when she did her show, she could talk about anything she wants, and her show, what I like about it, it's more like a personal journal, into like a normal person, a person who has thoughts, feelings, emotions, who works, who is a mom, who has dealt with things in life than most people. And that's what I like about your show. I mean, and yeah, I get into my personal experiences too at times on my podcast, but you really like go there. Like you share things.
Well, as a mom now, like I'm realizing half of the stuff that I went through as a kid, my son is kind of going through it, and I'm not like a lot of this stuff. It's just like feelings and other things.
Yeah.
And you have to think like, that's why I'm here, because there's so many problems right now in this world, and I feel like half of it has to do, like I honestly believe like maybe 80% of it, some of it has to do with like mental health.
Yes.
And like teenagers and kids acting out. It's not because they're just doing it to be bad. Some people are doing it because they're trying to, speak out. That was what my very first podcast was, is that if you see a kid acting out, start to change their behavior, pay attention to it, because that's where we need, as parents, people needs to put their foot down and needs to talk to them, like needs to talk to the kids, because it's just like I see so much shit happening right now, and I'm kind of like, what the fuck? You let your kids run you. You're the adult, though. Like, I see kids run the fucking adults, and I'm kind of like, you're the fucking adult. You're the one that pays for everything. Why the fuck are you letting your kid talk to you like that?
Right, yeah, because, I mean, we have our 5-year-old, and he does not run this household. We do, and we've made that clear. But, we see so many parents where their kids just run them, and that is not how it's supposed to go. You are the parent, you are the one in charge, you're the one who provides for this child. So they need to know that mom and dad are in charge. And if you're a single parent, then they need to know that dad's in charge or if mom's in charge, Yeah, it's as simple as that, I mean, if you have, let's say you have dogs and cats, do you let your dogs run the household? No, you do. So why should it be any different with your kid? You have to set the rules. You have to put the boundaries in place. You have to, teach them to not only listen and to respect you, but to basically let them know who's really in charge. And I feel like a lot of parents are afraid to upset their kids, make their kids angry. And I feel like a lot of parents just don't want to deal with a child who's like, basically acts out, because they didn't get their way. Because, I'll tell a story, this was several weeks ago. I took my son into Family Dollar, and I was making a taco dish in the crock pot, and I forgot salsa on the pickup order for Walmart. So, it was my fault. I should have, remembered, oh, hey, dumbass, get salsa, put it on the pickup order. But I forgot, I'm a human being. We forget stuff. So I'm like, well, shit, I gotta run to Family Dollar and get salsa. So, and I told our son ahead of time, like, hey, buddy, we have to run into Family Dollar. We have to get salsa, but we're only going to get this one thing, and then we're coming back home. And he said, okay, he understood. When we got in the store, what he wanted took over in that moment. Because he saw this cap gun in Family Dollar, and I don't think that a 5-year-old should be handling a cap gun, because here's the thing. If you improperly handle a cap gun, you can get burned, because it gets really hot when you fire it and everything. And I mean, I'm not saying it's the equivalent of firing a real gun, but that's the thing. Like you shoot it and then, it shoots those caps and it gets hot pretty fast.
Oh, yeah.
And I was not about to have him have one of those and then get potentially burned. And he threw a huge fit about it, like a screaming fit. And it was unlike him. And he was just so upset because he couldn't get what he wanted. But the thing about most parents, and we see it all the time, especially at Walmart, kids like, oh, I want this. And the parent says no. They throw a tantrum in the store and start freaking out. And then the parent gives in and lets them have it. It drives me nuts. Like, do not do that shit.
Oh my God. I remember one day my mom went to Walmart to get something. We were actually had to go through the toy aisle because, had to give somebody like a gift for their kids. It was a really young child because the birthday was coming up. So anyways, we go there to get what we need. A mom and her children, like the children immediately, they were just walking by the toy aisle. And if you're like a fucking mom, avoid near the toy section because your kids will just go off and run. Like,
Oh, yeah.
If you have no control on your kids, they will just off and run. So this mom, her kids just immediately ran, so she had to come and get them. And they started like this 3 kids of hers, because she had 4 kids. 3 of them started grabbing like 5 fucking toys and tried to put them in the cart, and she curled them, put it back. The one kid just went like this all over the store. Right? And there was a worker there watching the whole thing, and the mom was just leaving the toys there. Like, she didn't even try to pick them up. She was just leaving them there. And me and Katie looked at each other like, and the mom even seen us look at each other like, are you fucking serious? If your kids are gonna be this behaved in the store, find somebody that in your family that could have watched them. And if you can't, do the grocery pickup. Well,
right.
They were misbehaving. So anyways, they were screaming. They were hitting each other. These 3 of these children they were acting out, hitting each other. And me and Katie was still trying to find, like, because we got one of those like really tall dolls, look-alike dolls. I forget what they're called, but they have those accessories, and we decided we were gonna get the accessories here, and we were still looking, so we weren't like just standing there watching, but again, it was kind of hard not to. The mom goes, all right, you can have 1 toy, and gives them 1 fucking toy. And then she leaves, and then here goes my mom going, if you would have done that, what would you got? I was like, I would have got my ass beat in front of God and everybody. You would have beat my ass, took me outside, took me back home, and I would have had to stay with my father while you came back to the store to finish your shopping. And for some people that goes, well, that's child abuse. No, that was discipline. You never seen me act up in the store again. I see these teenagers act up, like start fucking taking toys and fuck with them, or take balls and trying to do everything, or ride bikes around the fucking place. I see all these teenagers doing this shit. And I'm kind of like, that's where my parents drew that line. They taught me at a young age. I didn't do that shit. And I definitely didn't do that shit at all.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing with parents who just let their kid have whatever they want. That's creating entitlement. You know, they think they're going to, they think they're going to be able to get whatever they want. And at first, there's the initial no, that's not going to be acceptable to that child, and they're going to freak out and then throw the biggest tantrum in the world. But that's the thing, like, we, as parents, we cannot cave. I did not give in to my son's demand. I told him, like, you are not getting that. And yeah, he threw a big fit about it. Yeah, he freaked out. He was all over the place about it. And yeah, it was ridiculous. But I did not cave. I didn't take him back to the store and get it. No, I stood my ground, and I told him, you're not always going to get what you want in life, because that is the truth. And parents who are just letting their kids get whatever they want, you are setting your kid up for future disappointment, because they're going to grow up thinking like, oh, I can just have whatever the hell I want, even if I have to kick, scream, and fight about it. That's not the way to go. So yeah, like, stop creating this sense of entitlement in kids, because that is going to lead down to a road that you do not want in the future.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're gonna think they get half of these kids are gonna just think they get whatever they want, right? And then they're not gonna realize that they're gonna have to work for what they want. And when they finally have to actually, because I believe at one point in your life, you actually do have to work for what you want.
Yes, you do.
There's always that one thing you want, but you actually have to show hard work. And that's where people gets the biggest fucking, that's why there's so many, like, this is where I believe the whole fucking, like, especially in females, and I'm sorry, ladies, but you have to admit, especially in teenagers, they don't get what they want. They call bullshit, and then look what happens. And now, guys, what I'm not talking about, I see this in women too, adults. Women don't get what they want. So you know what happens? Especially when they don't get away in a relationship, they'll fucking call rape or something on a dude. And then a dude is getting in trouble over because an entitled bitch doesn't get what she wants. And if anybody's offended by this, I don't give a fuck. That just shows, if you come after us, try to say something, because honestly, that just tells me you won't, because honestly, you'll be called out. That's just telling me that you're offended by it, because that's who you are.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Like, I will. This is ridiculous. Like, this is the problem in fucking America, is all these women don't get what they want by the fucking men. And then they're like, well, he hit me. He raped me. He did this to me. They're in fucking jail because you just wanted to fucking destroy their life. What does that get? You know what that gets you? One of these days, somebody's going to destroy your fucking life. One of these days, karma's a bitch. And do I not say that? And what's been happening? Karma's been hitting lately, especially at my job. We're not going to get into that. But,
yeah.
So, Cody, the reason why I also brought you on this podcast is because I wanted to get your point of view through a lot of stress, because of stress and kind of drama. Because the people does not believe me when I say it also happens to men.
Yeah.
Or half of the time, men is the cause of drama and stress. So, what is your point of view on drama?
Drama it's unnecessary. I try to, avoid it as much as you can, but it's always going to find you in some type of way,
Right.
like someone's not going to act right, and somebody's going to have a differing point of view, and some people are going to react so strongly to it that it's going to create a conflict, unfortunately. So drama's going to be there, but you just have to find a way to avoid it as much as you possibly can.
Right. Like I always say this, no matter where you go and there's always drama. But my question is, can men cause drama?
Absolutely. Yes. Like men definitely can cause drama because, everyone wants to say like, oh, well, women, get upset over shit that, doesn't even matter. Like, well, it may seem like that on the surface to you, but once you get down to the root of it, why they're upset, why, they are upset about what it is that seems so small, then you really start to understand where it is they were coming from the whole beginning. I mean, yeah, it may not seem like a big deal to us, and everything, as men, but women, tend to, feel things more than men do.
Yes.
And I think that's just how our DNA is. I think men are, and also society as well, because society has kind of put it in men's heads that cannot have emotion, can't feel things, like, oh, you can't be upset about this because, you're the man. You have to be strong. You have to, lead your pack. You have to, basically be the strong figure here.
So I'm gonna say, because you just said that, I'm gonna say I feel like that is so bullshit right now. Like that is bullshit. Men should be able to have emotion. Like some guys will be like, well, he cried because of this, or he feels this way. He's a pussy. How is he feeling upset about something that happened? Makes him a pussy. That makes him a man, because honestly, I feel like if a man's gonna cry about something, or be sad or have emotions, makes me feel like I'm gonna be able to connect with him. Because sometimes, I'm telling you right now, if a man does not really give a fucking emotion on something, I can't really be with that person. And that's why I'm with my husband, because I will let you know, like, he has showing emotion on a lot of things. And that's why we love each other so much, is because he's not afraid to tell me how he feels. And that's what I need from him, is that he needs to tell me how he feels, and I need to tell him how I feel. This is what makes the relationship work. But yeah, I just feel like when they say, oh, in society has it like, well, men can't show emotion, men has to be the leaders. Dude, it's 2026. Women are leaders. Men can show emotion. Men need to get that out of their fucking heads right now. Yes. Is a man supposed to be like 100% stronger than women? Absolutely. But I want to tell you one thing. I think like also men need to learn to show more emotion, because that's what will also separate them from the dickheads out there.
Yeah.
Real men, like I'm gonna say, because there's guys out there that think they're fucking men, but they're really fucking assholes. Real men will sit down with you and will talk to you, and if they're talking to you and they actually start to cry, it's because they're really telling you how they feel.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like I mean, there have been times where, like we get really deep into conversations, and sometimes it gets to me, I get emotional about certain things and everything. But I mean, but at the same time, I feel comfortable enough to share these things with you because, we're together, but also you have built up that emotional trust with me,
Exactly. I also feel like that's why men don't want to open up, is because there's an emotional trust boundary right there. Like, right there. You have to have that in order, like, you have to establish that with your significant other. They have to get to there. They have to be like, hey, how about we do this? Like, how about we get to there? Because once they get there, you'll start realizing there's a whole nother person.
Right, yeah. And then besides, I think some men have wives and they're not emotionally available at times, like a man will try to open up to him about something and they'll just be like, ha ha ha, oh, you're just overreacting, like you're overthinking it, which, sometimes people do overthink, but, if the woman is emotionally unavailable, they're just like, oh, I don't know why he's telling me this. It's fucking dumb, then a man's gonna just shut down.
Exactly. And women, like, ladies, right now, if you are listening to this, do not do that. I'm telling you, he's gonna lose interest in you, and it's gonna be not because he doesn't love you anymore or he loves another woman. It's because of you. I'm telling you, half of the time of cheating, it's because it's the other person's fault. Not because the person cheated. I mean, that's like 50% of it, but the other 50% is because of you. You know what I mean? Like, you're the one not really paying attention. Like, they're trying to open up and you're like, you're such a pussy.
Yeah.
Get over it. You're supposed to be a man. You're not supposed to have feelings.
Yeah, like basically you're just gonna push him into the arms of another woman,
like, I do really believe that's what causes cheating, is the significant other is pushing that other into the cheating range.
Right. And then it's vice versa too with with women, with men who aren't, emotionally available for their women. I think you're just going to end up doing that with, your wife, girlfriend, and yeah, I mean, pretty much.
Well, it's not just like it's not just being emotionally available. It's just being available in general.
Yes.
Now, I can see if you're just like, yes, I'm not trying to say no, cheating's like, seriously, guys, half of that, like, cheating is caused by something.
Yeah.
Some of it can be because you don't show your significant other the affection that they're looking for. Sexual affection, emotion, attention. You're not giving them those three. They're done with you.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
I stopped giving you sex. I stopped paying attention to you, and I stopped giving you my emotion support. Would you not want to? Would you not? And like, and even if you try to talk to me about it, would you? And I just completely cut you off. Would you not think about maybe?
I mean, with the thought kind of crossed my mind a little bit, probably, if I felt unwanted, but knowing how I am, I would try to somehow make things better, because because here's the thing. I feel like if you get married, then you should not divorce, I mean, I know some situations are terrible and that a woman needs to get away from a man or a man needs to get away from a woman, especially if it's like physically abusive and like the person is just getting the shit beat out of them every single day.
Yeah.
Or, there's just something going on that's just terrible. Or they find out that their husband or wife's like this, criminal, and they had no idea, or yeah, like then I could understand, divorcing and everything. Those are circumstances that are extreme. But, I do believe if you marry someone, you should be able to work through your differences in order to stay together,
Right.
And I think a lot of people kind of grow tired of their husband or wife, after a while. They want to experience something new and everything. And, I think that's why there's a lot of divorces that happen.
I heard of that. I actually heard of people just growing tired of their significant other. And it's not because their significant other is doing anything. They just want somebody new, somebody different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something different to experience with. And I'm kind of like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't think my husband could ever get tired of me. Almost every day is a new experience.
In some way, shape, or form.
Like, somewhat. I mean, because now that we have a kid, and this is our first kid, it's the new experience of
family life.
Yeah. So, like, family life right now has us with that, but
here's the thing. I don't want people to think that, like we're a perfect couple, because we are not. We have our ups and downs just like every couple does. We do have fights, arguments. We have times where we disagree with each other on things. And yeah,
stupid things.
Yeah, stupid things too. We frustrate each other because we both think we're right and everything. And then, but we have a time where we think about it, we, really think about what it is we were fighting about. I'm like, okay, I was being dumb, or Crystal will be like, you know what, Cody was actually right about this thing. I do that a lot and I shouldn't be, and then if I'm at fault, then I'm like, yeah, I mean, Crystal did have a point. I need to be doing this better, I need to not do that, and then we come together, we talk about it, and then we apologize, and then we get past it.
You know what you just said?
What?
You just said that I say you're right, and some of the guys probably listen to this, or females, be like, she would never say that. No, I do. I will say he's right. I will say you're right to him.
Yeah, like Crystal can admit, when she is wrong about things.
She can.
And then I don't want it to go to your head. It's like, oh, fucking yeah, damn right, you fucking right. I don't want people to be, having that attitude. No, I mean, it's called being humble, where you can be honest with yourself and be like, you know what? Yeah, that was stupid. I need to do better than that. And I need to tell my person that I'm sorry, and that I was wrong and I need to do better. That's what it is. It's called being humble and holding yourself accountable, which I think that a lot of people need to do, I mean, shit, I can sit back here and tell you guys that, I tend to overthink things a lot, but I think that part of that is anxiety, me overthinking things, being anxious, like, oh, well, what about this element? Oh, but the probability of this happening, like it's just anxiety, and I'm learning to manage it better.
That's actually going to come up in one of my episodes. I think maybe at next episode, I'm going to talk about anxiety, how anxiety can really affect people. Right. So, I mean,
and I'll share a personal story for your listeners, and some of your listeners might listen to my show too. But yeah, I will share a personal story. So when Crystal and I were living out in Arizona for 10 months, I discovered a lot about myself in that time. And the reason why I have depression and anxiety, it's not because of any chemical imbalance in my brain. No, it's not that at all. It was hormonal. Because the doctor I was seeing, and he's a doctor that really cares about the patient's well-being. Not like one of these doctors that are just there for the money. He did some blood tests on me, and he figured out that I have low testosterone, and that was causing a lot of my issues because he'd be putting me on these medications, and they don't work at all. They either made me more depressed, they would have my moods off kilter, or they just make me a damn zombie and I just want to sleep all the time.
Yeah.
And I can't live with like that, because, when I first got diagnosed in like 2014, with depression and anxiety, and they put me on Prozac and Abilify, and I just felt drowsy all the time. Like, yeah, I felt fine, but I kind of felt like it was shutting off a part of my brain, like I would go to work and then I get home from work and I just want to sleep, and it was like that for a while. And then I'm like, man, this just ain't fucking working. So, but yeah, like I'd be on these antidepressants, this anxiety medication, and it just did not work for me. And then come to find out all the time is that I had the hormonal imbalance. So, I got the TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and my levels got back up in the 600s and everything. But yeah, I mean, that's what can cause mental problems. And I think it's something that all doctors should be taking more seriously, but unfortunately they're not. They just like, oh, well, we'll just give you a prescription. We'll just shove a bunch of fucking pills in your mouth and hopefully that fixes the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I will say it. Some doctors are the reason for the mental health crisis.
Oh, yes. And if anybody's listening and you are a doctor, we don't mean this, but I do feel like how some doctors just care about the money. Like, there are some doctors that actually give a shit about your health, but others doctors are just like, we're just going to give you this, blah, blah, blah. And then you have to pay like almost like $100 just for that visit. And it's like, what the fuck? And then if your insurance don't cover the medication, you have to spend another like $100 and some on medication. I once had an inhaler and and antibiotics because I did not have insurance, or my dad's I did not have insurance. It cost me $47 just for both of those.
Wow.
And some people says like inhalers, like this is a different type of inhaler, so it wasn't really like expensive, but some like an asthma inhaler, like inhalers for asthma, those are really fucking expensive. Somebody told me one time without insurance it cost them like $300.
Wow.
And so yeah, I had to pay $47 for the shit. And I had to remember I had to go ask my parents for the money because I didn't have it because I was waiting for my check. I was broke from McDonald's. And this lady at CVS, she always comes through McDonald's. Well, this is when we were working at McDonald's. She would come through McDonald's. She remembered me. She was so fucking shitty with me. And she's like, well, you need to hurry up and get the money because if you don't get it, then tomorrow it's going to be $57. I'm like, why the next day would it be $10 more?
Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
So I come back, right? And of course, my parents we're working in Indiana. So I had to drive all the way to Indiana to get the fucking money and come back. So when I come back, they told me that actually I did have insurance. That's what covered most of it anyways. And it was supposed to cover still the inhaler. So technically the antibiotic pills was only like $10. And I was like, this bitch was just trying to use me. Even the pharmacists will try to just use you for money. And I told them that what she told me, they said that they don't know why she said that. So yeah, again, guys, watch out for people. Because sometimes they just try to fucking scam you on money.
Yeah, I got a lot of dishonest people working in the medical field, unfortunately.
Exactly.
But yeah, doctors need to start getting real about the mental health crisis. Yes, we need to start checking people's hormone levels. For women, estrogen; for men, testosterone. It's crucial. And that's the thing. Like, I didn't even know that a hormonal imbalance could cause someone to feel depressed, have anxiety. But, like, it was a whole new thing. And it wasn't no chemical imbalance in my brain, Now, if someone...
I ain't gonna lie, I had anxiety the whole time we lived out in Arizona. The whole time. I was just out of my comfort zone. That's what it was for me. I had no family out there. I moved away from my family, so I had nobody except for Cody. And I had anxiety the entire time. I didn't want to really live there.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Once you're out of your comfort zone, like I said, on my Boundaries podcast, human beings tend to kind of adapt to new surroundings and everything. But at the same time, you have to feel comfortable with where you're at,
I didn't like it at all. You could tell.
Well, we're on the East Coast now, so.
East Coast?
But, that's the thing. Like, mental health is an important thing. And people out there who struggle, they have to go out there and get some kind of help, and then and that's the thing, if your doctor is refusing to order blood tests for you to check your hormone levels, then go to somebody who will,
get a new doctor.
Yeah, get a new doctor and be like, okay, well, clearly you don't give a shit, so I'm going to go to somebody who will.
And honestly, guys, you have the right to understand what your levels of anything is at. It's your body. You have the right to understand if this is why it's causing you anxiety. And I'm not saying that I'm professional. We're just saying, like, he had depression and anxiety, and because his testosterone was low, when he got testosterone, the shots, he got injections for it, he actually started becoming better. He was sleeping better. He wasn't really depressed. He was a lot happier. Like I said, I was just having anxiety and stuff because I was out of my comfort zone because I was so used to being near my family and around my family. And now it's like, so yeah, when you guys so again, we're not trying to say that we're professional. We're just trying to tell you guys half of the time, some of the stuff that happens is because it's basically something else. A lot of doctors want to prescribe all these medications, and half of the time, did you guys know certain medications will cancel out other medications? So the two medications you could have actually aren't even helping because they could cancel each other out.
Right.
And the reason why the doctor's doing that is because it's money.
Yeah, 100%, and then, now, Crystal and I've started to, diet and everything. We're, on a diet now, and I've been taking, Shilajit, which is a natural substance, it's fulvic acid and all that. It comes from the, I forget what kind of mountains it is.
I thought you said it was like the Rocky Mountains.
I thought it was Rocky Mountains, but it's actually not. It's the Himalayas. Yes, that's where it's comes. Yeah, the Himalayas. But yeah, and then it's mixed with KSM 66 ashwagandha and stuff like that to stabilize your mood and everything. So I've been taking that as well, and that helps with testosterone. So yeah, I mean, there are supplements out there that will help you with your hormones and stuff like that, and just your overall wellness. But yeah, is there anything else you want to ask me, or?
So, basically, what you're saying is in men, it could just be a testosterone thing that could cause, some type of anxiety, depression, mental health issue.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, like, cause that's the thing. Like, a doctor put me on several medications, and I think he kind of did that to rule out, potential causes. And then he's like, okay, well, this medication's not working, that medication's not working. Let's do a blood test and see where your testosterone levels are at. And I was like, oh, okay. And I did not know that hormone imbalance could cause that. And come to find, huh?
Oh yeah, thing about it, hormone imbalance can cause a lot of things, mood swings, stress.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Ask a female. That's why when they say when she's pregnant, her hormones are out of balance, is because she don't have her regular cycle. That stops for 9 months. So the hormones, like everything stops because of the baby growing.
Yes.
And then when it happens again, it's trying to get back into it's a process, because look what happened when I was pregnant. I stopped having my monthly cycle, and then literally within a month after having Jackson, our son, I ended up getting on birth control, and I was on it for 5 years. I got it out this year because it was due this year to take it out. So I got it taken out, and I think this is why I'm still having kind of problems, is because all my hormones are trying to be like, I had that birth control in and everything. So now they're kind of like, ah,
Yeah.
So they're trying to now balance out. So again, like half of this time, guys, like half of mental health isn't because something's wrong with here. It's because something's wrong with everything. It could just be something unbalanced. So yeah, if you guys are struggling with mental health, it doesn't mean you need to go talk to a therapist. I mean, if you need to go talk to a therapist and they need to diagnose you with something to get on medication to help because there's a trauma or something, that's totally different. But also go to your doctor, because it could just be something like an hormone imbalance or testosterone balance for men. And this is what my podcast is about, because we're trying to tell you our experience. And like my husband just told you, men, it can happen.
Yes.
It can very happen. Those 10 months he was living out in Arizona were great for him. But again, the only reason why I had anxiety and I wasn't liking it is because I was out of my comfort zone. And you would think, 10 months gave you plenty of time to adapt. No, not at all. Not at all. What did it, babe? Did I not get better at all?
No, I mean, like, I think you liked your job,
I liked my job. It was easy.
But, after you clocked out and everything, you're like, I gotta come back and, and everything. I mean, there were some aspects of Arizona we liked and everything, but
I like the nature and going on walks.
yeah.
And you have people like nature. It's cactuses and desert. Exactly.
Well, it'll feel more like nature in October when we go to Hocking Hills.
Oh, yes. By the way, guys, I do want to say this, and I'm going to keep on reminding you, probably like maybe twice a month. October 16th we'll be back on the 18th, back home on the 18th. I'm not going to do a podcast that 18th because I'm going to just relax. So I'll remind you before, but we are I don't know if you're doing a creepy AF because we're leaving on that Friday.
I mean, we'll have more discussions about that week in general, but whether there will be content or whether there not be content that week. But because I mean, we could do a pre-recorded version in advance of our shows to put up there, but yeah, because when that weekend hits, guys, we're pretty much not going to be online at all. I mean, and if we are, it's because some of those posts got scheduled, in advance. But yeah, we will be pretty much dead to the internet that weekend.
We're gonna unplug for once.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going up to Hocking Hills in October. It'll be a getaway for us, and I feel like couples need to have that, for sure.
Oh, exactly. I mean, Hocking Hills is a family thing too, but sometimes you can just go, you and your significant other, just go and enjoy walks, nature, and hell, you don't even have to go on those nature walks or anything. You could just stay at the little places they have. We have a nice house that we're staying at, and yeah, I'm telling you what, I'm gonna use that hot tub.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, guys, please remember, if you guys are starting to suffer from depression, anxiety, start to have a lot of stress, mental health is a big issue that is causing a lot of can cause problems. So please go talk to your doctor and get the help that you need. And like we said, it could just be hormonal or testosterone for the men. It could, so please, ladies, and, get that checked out. And please, men, try to get that checked out too. If you guys can do like what my husband has, he's been sleeping better. I mean, we didn't get good sleep last night because we got home super late. We had a party last night, a birthday party last night, an adult birthday party. So, but anyways, but other than that, there are things like maybe it's time to start changing like your diet and anything you eat, because also that's what does cause problems too. And it doesn't all necessarily like you'll start feeling depressed and sad and all that. Well, you feel like that. It doesn't mean you are, but that's what it makes you feel, because dieting is another important thing. So that's what we're changing. And I have noticed that I have had more energy during the day. As soon as I eat the lunch we eat, I have more energy for work.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel so bloated.
Right.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was a little longer podcast today, but again, please, if you need help, go get help. There's always hope. And remember, guys, that we're not professionals in the medical field, but we're just telling you our experiences that we have. Because if this is something this is something you guys could go do, and you would be shocked to what you see or hear. Is there anything you would like to add, Cody?
Yeah, just check out the network, check out our other shows that we have to offer, and yeah, we're just gonna keep things rolling here on the Springer Podcast Network. Crystal Show, the Cody Springer Show, Creepy AF, and Pro Wrestling Focus. We're just gonna keep it going, and yeah, just check us out.
All right, that will end the Crystal Show. Me, Lizard, and Cody are out.